respected organizers of this conference, and my dear school teachers from different institutions, resource persons, I deem it an opportunity given to me to share some of the concerns that we all have and to give it a sort of a concrete shape or format so that we can further think on those issues. Normally in any conference or meeting, when I find people at the back a bit hesitant to occupy the front seats, I take the portable mic and walk into them so that they'll be in a classroom. Of course, you have to have a communication pattern where you are more audible, and also you should be in a position where you cannot be ignored. And here, these two screens have prohibited me from doing that. Anyway, let me start with a scenario which I had a couple of weeks back when I was doing the process of admissions. I was admitting students, and one particular scenario just, I took a still of that in my mind. The father is leading, the mother is following, and the son is also following. The father said that he has come for the seek admissions for BA English, and the mother also came by his side, and to the side again the son was standing. Then I asked him for the mark statement. Immediately the son looked at the mother, and the mother was holding the bag, and she took the mark statement and gave it to the son. The son passed it on to me. Then I told the mother, please hand over all those certificates to the son. He can take care of that. Let him handle it. He is fully prepared to handle it. The father was a bit not very comfortable at what I was saying. But that scenario was giving me input saying that, well, the student, of course, the student is yet to be a major. He is just 17 years around. Well, he is going to be a major in a year or so. But the parents have not understood him as a person preparing himself to be a major. And I think this is somewhat happening around when we meet the fresh students, the entry-level students in the college. See, when we talk about the stakeholders of education, we talk about the parents, we talk about the teachers, we talk about the employers, we talk about those in the media, those belonging to the system, maybe the school. These are all different people or different sections who are interested in the welfare of the students and naturally in education at large. But I mean, I am given an opportunity as a person, as an employer, as it was said in the beginning, the employers expect something from the students. Similarly, when the students come up to our institutions for higher education, we expect something from them. And what are the expectations and what are the expectations that are lacking? This is the sort of the concern that we are going to discuss today. Before saying what the principal or the college expects from a student, let me slightly point out what would be the expectation of the student. What would be the expectation of the student from the college, from the institutions of higher learning? So, because that has a lot of relationship with what the college expects from him. How the expectations of the student about the college is being shaped up. The media shapes it at a large extent, to a large extent. I think you would have seen so many films. In a film, if there is a classroom scene, what would be the modality of it? What would be the content of it? The professor would be a comedian. The classroom would be a playfield. The environment will be, there will be lot of relationships questioned and cartooned. So this is what the student has in mind. He or she has not seen a classroom. He or she has not seen a college. But this is what is given to a student to expect from a college. Well, this is the expectation with which the student enters the college. Now, from the principal's point of view, or from the professor's point of view, or from the college point of view, what we expect from them and what is lacking. Maybe this topic is given so that as teachers, you try to address some of the expectations that are lacking in those students. Well, it's a good attempt, and in fact, that approach is very appreciable. Let me first of all say, as I told you earlier, the student lacks independence. The student lacks independence. In some of the class in schools, I heard that even the hall ticket of the student is not with the student, but it is with the teacher. And during the time of examination, the teacher comes to the class and distributes the hall tickets. And after the examinations are over, the hall tickets are again collected and it is in the custody of the teacher. Well, the school doesn't have the confidence that the student is capable of handling his or her hall ticket. The school system itself accepts it. I start from here. Well, what the system gives and what the system accepts. I am giving a different dimension because I am giving the dimension of the student and giving the dimension of the school, because when we talk about bombarding the lacunae of the students when they enter into the college, we have a tendency of finding fault with the student. Well, I'm going to say that it is not the fault of the student alone, and it is something more than that. The student is presented in the classroom and he comes to the college. As I told you, he's not very independent. He has had a lot of coaching and a little of teaching. Lots of coaching and a little of teaching. His memory has been tested and evaluated, but not his understanding. His memory has been tested and evaluated and not his understanding. He comes there, and some of the students are not even capable of finding or framing their own timetable. Every student, for his studies or her studies, need to frame a timetable. Well, in today's context, it is not his or her timetable that matters, but the time schedules of the tuitions that matter. Time schedules of the tuition masters, time schedules of the auto, and all these time schedules are managed by somebody else. Maybe the parents, maybe the auto wala, maybe the car driver. They take care of these time schedules and make the students to obey their time schedules. Well, we are expecting the student to be independent. the auto walas, or the drivers, or the tuition masters, and or some of the students have their own yes, separate person to take care of them, to lead them to the tuitions, etc. So the skill of preparing a timetable for himself is basically lacking. Independence is lacking. The skill of preparing and his own timetable is lacking. Even the skill of owning the custody of his own materials, the books, the notes, etc., even that is lacking in some of the students, because even that is taken care by the mother. In most cases, the mother. Sometimes the father does. So, without giving a responsibility of anything of this sort to the student, we are expecting him to be fully prepared to the college. And let me tell you one, I think it's an open secret. The students who are coming to the Arts and Science College, I come from a rural Arts and Science College, Scott Christian College, which is a 121-year-old institution in the southern end of Tamil Nadu. Of course, has lots and lots of traditions, and it is an autonomous college now. But the input we have, most of them are first-generation learners, would-be first-time graduates. So these first-generation learners, we are taking them in, and we are what to expect from them. One thing that we find is that most of the students, even coming from, I'm talking about the first generation learners, I'm also talking about maybe the fourth generation learners who are, I think most of you will be teachers in those institutions which are handling very little of the first generation learners and most of the third or fourth generation learners. Even those students who are entering into the college are found lacking in some of the basic skills that we expect from them. A student, +2 student, with 1,000 plus marks cannot sit in the classroom and take notes. Note making is not being taught, I don't know. Well, maybe some of you may think in the present system that is not necessary. But at least from my point of view, I should say that we expect this. And similarly, maybe from a lesson or maybe from a chapter, summarizing what the chapter contains, the art of summarizing, the art of note making, the art of summarizing. And unfortunately, let me say, where our school system has miserably failed is many of the students do not know how to handle a book. And I can definitely I can say at least 95% of the students who come to the college have not visited a library. 95% of the students who enter into the college have not visited a library. They do not know a library. The skill of searching for any topic from a library is lacking. Again, so you give him a student, you give him or her a book. The book is a fully comprehensive book. And you are giving a topic. You are asking that student to make notes. Maybe, say, you give a limit of, say, 2 pages from this book on this topic. Where to find this topic? Maybe the book is, say, 500 pages big. You are not asking the student to read all, but you are asking the student to give to refer this topic, search in this book. It is there in the book, and ask him or her to take notes. Well, how many students can reach that part of the book where that topic is dealt with? They do not know anything about the index. They may know something about the contents. They do not know about the author index or the subject index or the corporate index, the different types of index that are being used in the books. This is something I found a bit disappointing when I visited schools in California, schools in Argentina, schools in the Gulf. Those students in the middle classes, 6th, 7th, and 8th, that category, they are capable of doing this. Some of you may murmur at the back saying that, well, these days those things are not necessary because you can type in the word or the topic and search in the internet. Well, that's great. That's good. But the basic point, still there are lakhs and lakhs of books that are in the library. And the students must know the art of, they must know the skill of looking for or searching for a particular topic and coming out with, then only you can expect them to write assignments. Then only you can expect them to prepare projects. Without this basic skill, they are there with us. And we, in our own system, don't have a sort of methodology to go through that. Well, from our point of view, from our college, we send them to the library and we teach them these basics of how to refer a yearbook and what is a yearbook. Basically, what is a yearbook? If you ask them, many of them may not know. What is an encyclopedia? Maybe at the best they may know what's a dictionary. Thesaurus, okay, even that may be not a word comfortable to many of the students. So these basics need to be addressed to in the school system. I think you will all agree with me. So, and if you bring any of the students and try to test whether they have these kind of skills, I think many of us will be very much disappointed. They lack many of the minimum skills that they should have, and they also lack the basic creativity. I was talking to one of the employers, very famous employers in Tamil Nadu, and I was in Anna University at that time. I was with the management department, and they used to come and conduct lots of tests and so on. I was talking to them, and they said that students with creativity will be our first priority. They said that at that time they needed 8 actual vacancies. From a total of 1,400 students, they want to screen them down, shortlist them to 30, and in the 30, they want to take 8. They said with all these tests, we will short them to 30, and from the 30, how to get this 8? We will see how many of them have creativity. I don't know whether, maybe if you ask me personally, I would say that our school system kills the creativity. It's very pathetic and it's true. And you don't encourage them to be creative. Maybe at first to 5th standards, some of the schools have definitely some plans and programs for them. But after that, especially in the 11th and 12th years, 11th and 12th standards, that kind of creativeness is being suppressed, and that is one of the areas which I found is lacking in the students. Some of the students, you would have been very good in geography. They may be very good in history. Well, that's great. They may have scored good marks also. But when you talk to them about the history of their village, history or the geography of their village, they have no clues. I once interviewed a student from Susindram where there is a great temple is there. Well, you know, in the interviewing process, the first 2 or 3 questions will be to make you feel at ease. So, what is your name? Where are you coming from? How did you travel to this place? All these minor and very elemental questions so that you make the person to be interviewed a bit more easier and relaxed. And of course, before you go there, there are some bridge questions. And when since the student said that he is from Susindram, I wanted him to say something about the Susindram temple. He sweated out in an AC room and couldn't speak for at least 2 minutes. Then I had to be sort of apologetic. They do not know about the history of their own place, their own temples, the importance of that. What is the output of your village? What is the agricultural product that is being produced in your village? You talk to them, zero them into their village, into their neighborhood, into their panchayat, into their district. They lack that understanding. That simply means, whatever they have studied, they have not applied to their village. Whatever things they have studied in economics or in history or in geography, they have not mentally applied it to their village. I am being invited in different teacher education institutions to speak to the teachers. Since I find many teachers here, I thought that I would share this also with you. To me, as per my understanding, from a practical side, I insist 5 E's for education. Education is a word which starts with E, and I insist 5 E's for education. The first E, I would say, explanation. A student, given a word or concept, must be capable of explaining it. And explaining it to others in the class is also a concept that must be encouraged. If I say it in Tamil, கல்வி ஒன்றுதான் கொடுக்க கொடுக்க வளர்ந்து கொண்டே இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு வளம். Education is the only resource which grows by giving. As teachers, you have given lot of education and you also get educated and get clarified. Similarly, I once had one of my students, he failed in one subject. But he is very good in doing problems and accounting problems. So when somebody asked me for a tuition, I said that I don't take tuition, but I can give you a student who is very good in doing problems. He has come, he is not employed at the moment, so he can be a good teacher. And that student came to me and said, "Sir, I studied all these things, I know, but only when I wanted to explain it to my students, I go on inventing and discovering more and more examples." Well, the first E of education is, I said, explanation, and the second E, I would say, is examples. See, even now I would say, we export lots and lots of teachers. We exported them to Burma, we exported them to Sri Lanka, we exported them to Maldives Islands. We are also exporting them now to Australia and European countries and others. You know what is a major criticism of Indian teachers? The major criticism of Indian teachers is that they don't give enough examples. They don't give enough examples. If at all they give examples, they give only those book examples. Well, you have to go beyond the book. You have to go beyond the culture, and you have to understand the examples of your own neighborhood, your own school culture and school neighborhood, and try to give examples from that point of view so that they get interested in the concept, they also get interested in the examples, and they try to explore their own neighborhood and try to enjoy their neighborhood and be proud of their own neighborhood. Well, we have to generate, and for that generation you need to read, and that generation you have to know your neighborhood. Indian teachers must learn to give many more examples. Third one, the third E of the education I would say is exception. As a student in the class, whenever my teacher makes a statement, I always look for an exception so that I can ask a question saying, sir, you said this, but it is not like this in this case. And that is an example of an exception. One day when I was entering my classroom, that batch of students used to write some important, maybe some 10 words or so in the blackboard. Maybe Punmoli or Palamoli or a biblical version or verse from Gita or whatever it is. One day I was entering the classroom. As soon as I entered, there was a unusual silence. I read the written words in the blackboard. Alagu pennin thayar endral attai endru artham. Alagu pennin thayar endral attai endru artham. This is a couple of words, sentence in the film song. Well, I want you to think what would have been your reaction. Sometimes I used to get the feedback, it's too big a crowd, so I'm not asking you. Well, I never bypass those words. Whatever they have written in the blackboard, I will start my lesson or the lecture on that day from that word. So today I cannot skip that. So it's a challenge for me. And I have to decide it before I finish my attendance. Well, I was finishing my attendance. There was extraordinary silence in the class. After closing my pen, I stepped back and leaned on the blackboard and said, யாருக்கெல்லாம் அழகான தங்கச்சி இருக்கிறாங்களோ இல்லையோ இந்த கிளாஸ்ல உள்ள யாருக்குமே அழகான தங்கைகள் கிடையாது. உடனே சிலர் அப்படியே இருக்காங்க, சிலர் நீங்க சிரிக்கிற மாதிரி சிரிச்சாங்க, சிலர் டியூப்லைட் மாதிரி அடுத்தவங்ககிட்ட கேட்டு சிரிச்சாங்க. கொஞ்சம் எல்லாம் பேசி 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 அப்புறம் கொஞ்சம் கலகலன்னு ஆயிட்டாங்க. அப்புறம் கிளாஸ் ரூமில் உள்ள ஒரு சைக்காலஜி உங்களுக்கு தெரியும். நான் அதனால தான் பின்னால் போனேன்னு சொன்னேன். அந்த பின்னால் போனோடனே நான் இதை சொல்லி எல்லாரும் புரிஞ்ச உடனே எல்லாருக்க கண்களும் அப்படியே ஜீரோயின் ஆகி அது ஒரு பையன் அப்படியே அவனுக்கு பையனுக்கு முகத்தில் வந்து நின்றுது. அடுத்ததாக நான் சொன்னேன், யாருக்கு அழகான தங்கைகள் இருக்கிறாங்களோ இல்லையோ மாணிக்க வாசகத்துக்கு அழகான தங்கை இல்லைன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். உடனே அவர் பிள்ளை அந்த அடுத்த சைட்லன்னு சொன்னான், ஆமாம் சார், இல்லை சார், இருந்திருந்தா அவன் அவங்க அம்மாவையே அத்தன்லாம் கூப்பிடணும். See, a couple of words, sentences are there, and as usual, I am trying to find an exception to these words. அழகு பெண்ணின் தாயார் என்றால் அத்தை என்று அர்த்தம். அப்படி அத்தை என்று அர்த்தம் இல்லாத ஒரு சென்டென்ஸை, ஒரு சிச்சுவேஷனை நான் திங்க் பண்ணுறேன். ஸோ trying to find out an exceptional example. An exceptional example becomes an exception. You try to teach them the art. If the student has got the explanation and knows the examples and knows the exception, then that student has understood the concept. In theory, he is fine. And again, the fourth E, I would say exposure. Exposure. Explanation, example, exception, and the exposure. The exposure, suppose in a setting like this, you talk about the poverty in India. Well, you can go sessions after session. And of course, it will bring in some inputs, no doubt about that. But still, a walk in a slum, in a group, going through the slums, You hear lots of voices. Maybe they are not very good, decent words. You smell a lot. They are not very good smelling. காலில் சகதி படக்கூடாதுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு ரொம்ப கவனமாக நடக்கிறீங்க. You walk very carefully because you don't want to spill those dirts into your dress. At the end of the process, you know about poverty a shade or a degree better than those who studied it from a five-star hotel culture. Because you have the exposure. That exposure counts. The students entering to the portals of our college hardly get any exposure on any area of their interest. I don't know how your schools promote those excursions, those picnics, and those tours. I would encourage that because what they see, what they listen, what they smell, what they enjoy, that speaks more loudly and powerfully than what you taught them through the books in the classroom. Exposure makes you a better citizen. That's one of the reasons why we insist on some exposure and field work and field trip. Maybe in the school curriculum that's hard to come by, but still seeing new places and seeing different spots and people, and that makes them a little more educated on those topics, and I would insist on the exposure to any student. I know a tuition teacher. He takes tuition and he takes the students to a post office and teaches them what is a postcard, what is an inland letter, what is a stamp, what is a money order, all those things in the campus of a post office. Similarly, in the railway station, he shows what are the trains, what is a signal, what is a clock room, etc., etc. He takes them one day to the bus stand. And he is a very innovative, creative person. But once, in this series, he also took the students to a police station. I don't want to elaborate on that. You know how the parents would react to his exposure to a police station. The next week, his tuition population became half. Well, but of course, as diligent persons, you will understand the importance of such exposures. And the last but not the least is the E, experience. Well, I am talking to you with my 35 years of experience, with my experience in the different continents of the world. As teachers, you can recount in the early days when you started the noble profession of teaching, the first year or the second year or the third year, and now the 25th year, 26th year, you know the difference. Because the experience makes you complete. Similarly, the student working on different projects, different problems, and getting more and more exposure, and then the series of exposure, cumulative, becomes the experience, and definitely he has something to say to you. We have the habit of the book bag question concept, and that doesn't give exposure or experience to the student, and the student comes to the college also with that type of a mindset. And I will also like to question on the ethical side of it. Now the media is crazy about the results. Some of the DEOs and CEOs are mad after the results. And finally, the easiest way of cooking up a higher result is that you try to make them be liberal in the exam halls. Being liberal in the exam hall is not amounts to malpractice, but they are not very, the students are not very aware of that, and the students are not sensitized towards that. I had my first, during the last year when I had the first test in the college, some of the parents called me and complained. +2 எழுதுனதை விட கஷ்டமாட்டு இருக்கு சார் உங்களுக்கு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டெஸ்ட், என்ன சார் இது, கொஞ்சம் அவங்க பார்த்து எழுதட்டுமே. Well, we are corrupting the ethical standards of the students also. I would like to say that we also take the practicals for granted, and tuition has started, even the working schedules of some of the schools. Again, the town culture based on the, as I told you, the auto-based or the driver-based movements of the students who are not taught how to be independent. And at the schools, I think with this I will complete. At the schools, these +2 students are the senior most students. They are the most cared after population. They are the VIPs. But when they enter into the college, they start from the scratch. Again, the problem of complex sets in. Maybe that we are taking steps to groom them into the right culture so that they will be able to work as the junior most in the college and then to work up their way into the higher studies. Well, we are talking about the parents' point of view, the students' point of view, the students' expectations, the teachers' expectation, the college expectations, and maybe similarly, you may have to think in terms of the media expectations. You have to think in terms of the employer expectations. When the number of skills get down, the employers are still very much worried. So preparing them a wholesome personality. I was once called to teach the students how to face the interview. It's a pathetic question because you have to teach them how to say thank you, how to say good morning after their end of their school curriculum, end of their college 3 years. You try to teach them how to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to the interviewers. Then I said to them finally, I am not going to make you actors in an interview room. You be on your own and try to impress the interviewers. Maybe if we do it in installments in the college, in the schools as well as in the college, these kind of values, maybe some of the courtesies are found lacking. Some of the values are found lacking. Definitely we have to work on these issues, and I wish the students of tomorrow become a well-known and a welcome population into the institutions, and also they are welcomed by the employers. Thank you very much.